Hi, everyone. Think we are live now. We are good to go. Welcome, everyone that is joining this session. I'm sorry for starting a bit late, some minutes late, but we were facing some technical issues. But now I have with me Mario and Zosimo from the Singularity University Curitiba. Both maybe not in Curitiba because Sosimo just told me he's in Lisbon, and Mario I think is also somewhere else. But
London.
Sosimo, the stage is yours.
Okay, Mario. Your
Hello,
turn.
everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Sorry for the delay. Greetings here from Budapest, Hungary. My name is Mario Sivak. I'm a Singularity Global Summit alumni and a sustainability evangelizer. I know I'm one of the last things separating you from a happy hour with your friends and family, but bear with me. I hope we make this hour of yours worthwhile. We will use this time to explore some economic opportunities for increasing humanity sustainability, while our life and our work is migrating to the MetaSpace economy. Before we get started, next slide, please. I'd like to recap one of the most valuable insights I had during the global summits I've attended. Today, we have almost 5 of the 8 billion people connected to the internet, where they offer their talents and look for solutions to their needs. As Peter Diamandis said back in 2017 and in 2018 and repeated in 2019, the best way to become a billionaire is to help a billion people. Where do you get to see these billion people? Online.
Yeah.
The first thing is how to reach them. 1 billion people. Well, the COVID vaccines just reached a billion people last week. What I realize is that simplicity is the key for adoption to novelty. And that's why I think you never went to a class to learn how to use Facebook, Android, iPhone, or even to take a COVID vaccine, did you? So my massive transformative purpose is to simplify the scaling of sustainability, the 3S. And as Da Vinci and Jobs showed, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So we need your help in this NTP that benefits us all and the future generation. That's why we are going to discuss this the next hour. Let us do some housekeeping first. Please use the question and answers here to put your questions during this presentation. And write down your questions in the first 50 minutes and upvote the ones that you find more interesting so we can get them covered by the end of the presentation. I'm also going to do a couple of polls in each slide. So to keep this as interactive as possible, after all, you took the time to watch this live, so there is a benefit that we interact. So for the first poll, the next slide, please. I'd like to ask, who here knows the state of the UN Sustainability Development Goals? Please say yes if you know, or no if you don't. I give you 30 seconds to answer this poll. We have 8 people here, so you just need 8 people to click on poll and click yes or no, please. Have one person saying yes, one person saying no, giving another 20 seconds. 2 people saying yes, 3 people saying, 1 person saying no. Please, the other 5, if you could please vote on the poll. Another 5 pending to answer the poll, please. Okay, so we got 66% of the 3 votes saying yes. Well, that's good. it's been there for six years already, so hopefully we get to talk about them in the next 25 minutes in greater detail. The second poll I'm going to ask is the same yes or no poll. Who here knows the 10 MetaSpace realms that have been published on 2017 Sustainable Global Summit of Singularity? So we have going to start the poll right now and give you 20 seconds, please, if you could answer. Do you know the MetaSpace, the 10 MetaSpace realms? We have 3 votes, nobody knows. And the other 5, if you have clicked there on poll, we have 4 votes. Very good. Nobody knows the MetaSpace realms. Okay. 5 votes, nobody knows. We need another 3 votes, please. Okay. We have no, so we'll be talking about that. And it's very interesting that the 10 MetaSpaces will be the topic that we will connect in a few minutes our talk to help visualize the different spaces where we are entering our life, attention and economy, to refresh perspectives on how to optimize digital solutions for a sustainability challenge, while monetizing them with attention and money. And the third and last poll I'm going to have here is also a yes and no poll. I'm going to ask about who here knows the 6 Ds of Peter Diamandis on exponential innovation. I'm just publishing here the poll. If you please, could you please reply? So 50%, 3 votes, 66% don't know. Well, since it's my mission to scale sustainability, that will be the last topic of this conversation for the last 20 minutes. And then we'll have 10 minutes for review Q&A if there is any, okay? So let's go to the next slide, please. And how many of the sustainability development goals are necessary to be reached by 2030? A, 5, B, 12, C, 17, D, 23. Since we're 8, please use on the chat which letter you want. Click on chat and put A, B, C, D. Okay, so some people say A, some people say, well, most people think it's 5 sustainability development goals right now. There's 2 people saying C, very nice. Well, the truth is, next slide, please. We are 17 goals to get to sustainability. Well, we won't have time today for 17. We're going to talk about 9, which I prioritize because of time. So next slide. Which one is number 1 is about eradicating poverty. How many people live in poverty in 2021? A, 715 million, B, 1.1 billion, C, 2.2 billion, D, 3 billion, more than 3 billion. Please, if you can type on the conversation chat, A, B, C, or D, put SDG 1A, SDG 1B, the SDG. And as you can see on next slide, please, we have 715 billion people living in poverty. You can see that on the World Poverty.io site. We have a lot of people living still in poverty. And you can also see that this is done by an elaborate group outside UN of World Data Labs. So, and we are a little bit behind. We're like 226 million people behind schedule. That's because our escape velocity of people exiting poverty should be 2.2, 2.4 people per second in the world, and we are 0.8 people per second out of poverty. If nothing is done, we're going to leave 224 million people still in poverty on 2030. I encourage you all to take a note of worldpoverty.io, and after this session, look at this portal to see the poverty data on your geography, on the map, and understand how it is in your interest areas, in areas of expertise and operations. You can also filter data per urban or rural settings, per gender, and per age. There's a lot of prospect customers and businesses to be made solving this. Since the highest expenses of someone's life is like buying food, clothes, shelter, education, happen after leaving the poverty trap. So let's go to the next slide, please. On Sustainable Development Goal 2. Oh, so you can see there's much more data on this website. Next slide, please. How many people do you still think live in hunger with Sustainable Development Goal 2? So, answer A, B, C, or D. 715, 1.1 billion, 2.5 billion, or 3 billion. Let's go to the next slide, please. 2.5 billion people. 2.5 billion people live in severe food insecurity, out of which 819 billion actually live in chronic food insecurity. What's most concerning about this metric is that we have 165 million children under the age of 5 that are being stunted because of that. And it's not lack of production of food. We have enough food to feed 1.5 times the earth. We have problems of distribution due to lack of economic incentives, warfares, plagues, and insecurity disrupting the distribution of this food. And these children, if they are mentally stunted, they will live 70 years in poverty due to their lack of ability, of cognitive ability derived from their mental stunting. It's urgent to prioritize feeding them, but tricky, seeing most of them are all on rural settings or in war zones. Next slide, please. This month is my birthday. I'm completing 44 years, 44 trips around the sun. I look at the same longitude and realize my health and life expectancy depends on which latitude and country I'm in. Not because of geography, but because they organize healthcare in these areas. So how many years would my life expectancy differ if I would be living in Nigeria or in Switzerland the rest of my life? I would live another 5 years, another 12 years, another 16.5 years, another 18 years if I would live in Switzerland. Please type there on the chat. Well, next slide, please. I would be living 16.5 years more in Switzerland, whereas in Nigeria I would be probably dying at 70, and in Switzerland I would probably die at 87 years old. So this is the difference between healthcare in Switzerland and Nigeria. Although they are in the same longitude, they're not in the same latitude. And that's what we got to do in Sustainable Development 3, give healthcare to all people around the world independent of their latitude. The next slide, please. Sustainable Development 4. How many people don't have remote learning today? 150 million, 200, 450, or 500 million, please. 2021, internet for 5 billion people. How many people still don't have remote learning? Next slide, please. We have 500 million people. 500 million people are still without remote learning. That's gonna affect poverty if we don't solve that. Next slide, please. Missing hand washing and living in water scarcity. The SDG 6, how many people do you think? 250 to 500 million, 500 to 900 million, 1 or 2 billion people, 2 to 3 billion people. A, B, C, or D? Next slide, please. We have almost 3 billion people without facilities to wash their hands at home. 2.3 billion people, almost 2.4 billion people, we're living in water scarce lands. You can see more in worldwater.io. A lot of these areas are only surviving because importing food is available. But with correct sanitation, we can keep the available water clean. And adding agricultural management, we can enable efficient water use because 70% of the water is used for irrigation of agriculture. If you want to help 3 billion people, that's the chance of becoming 3 times billionaire. Next slide, please. SDG 7 is about access to electricity. In 2021, how many people do you think have no access to electricity at home? A, B, C, or D? 250 million A, 500 million B, 750 million C, 1 billion D. The next slide, please. 750 billion. 750 million. Almost a billion people don't have electricity at home. So that's a big opportunity to solve with the prices of solar panels and batteries coming down 10 times the last 10 years. Next slide, please. And Sustainable Development 8, decent work and economic growth. How many 2015 jobs that are at risk of being automated by 2030, according to Oxford University and the World Economic Forum? Please answer A, B, C, or D. And next slide, please. We have 2 billion people that might lose their job. That's 50% of the world's jobs going to be automated in the next 9 years. We are adapting, humanly speaking. We adapt linearly, but technology is exponential. We have today a world of 24 hours, 365 days a year, online, work, shopping, education, and lots of people are being left behind with no clear identity and purpose in society. Not coping to adapt to the constant evolving world of online work, in education, health, entertainment. How will we re-employ this work, 50% of the workforce this 9 years? This is also the greatest opportunity, seeing the networks like LinkedIn and bought by Microsoft for $25 billion 5 years ago, still do a lousy job in fast reskilling and re-employing talent in the new market demands. Let's go to the next slide, please. Sustainable Development Goal 9, the industry and infrastructure innovation. You may ask, why is this a sustainable development goal? Well, do you know how much the greenhouse gas emissions come from industry infrastructure of today? Talking about buildings and industry like cement and steel. A, B, C, or D? 18% of all the greenhouse gas, 28%, 38, or 45? Next slide, please. 38% according to Bill Gates' last book of sustainability. That's because to generate heat and cooling of buildings, and especially producing cement and steel, consume a lot of greenhouse gas. According to Bill Gates, this is the hardest area to change our methods of production. Unfortunately, not because they're not economically, not because they don't exist, but they're not economically viable at the scale they need. There's a high green premium to do cement and steel today in net zero. So electricity and transportation are also challenging, but we seem to be getting there with solar and wind and fusion and biofuels. Intensive agriculture with greenhouses and robots may also drastically reduce greenhouse gas for manufacturing and buildings. But manufacturing buildings are the hardest to reduce on today's technology, according to Gates. Next slide, please. Last sustainable development goal we're going to talk about is about the greenhouse gas emissions. How many greenhouse gases could we emit according to Paris Agreement in 2015 until 2030 to avoid disrupting our planet's temperature? A, B, C, or D? 60 years of emissions, 30 years of emissions, 15 years of emissions, or 7.5 years of emissions of 2015? Next slide, please. We can only emit 15 years of 2015 equivalent CO2.
Sosimo, do you think we lost Mario?
I believe so. Mario?
Because suddenly the sound completely stopped, at least on my side.
You are connected on the environment, the tool? I can see this because...
Yes. Maybe it's better if he refreshes. I'm going to type on WhatsApp. I think he's on WhatsApp.
Maybe you can send the chat message for him because I need to stop the presentation. I sent WhatsApp message, but...
Okay, I'm also writing him. Meanwhile, it was great to see that at least some people were interacting and answering. What is your feeling? Were people on the spot? Some surprise answers or Sosimo?
Yeah, I think that's a good interactions, but it's not surprised me, but...
Mario, I can see you were back, although you are on mute, it seems. Let's hope. Yeah, for some seconds it was okay.
Can you hear me now?
In this one. But he's back.
We're back. Sorry about that, guys.
I'm sorry for these technical issues.
Yeah,
okay.
They say AI
Mario?
is easy. What's difficult is webcasting.
Okay, you are online.
Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. And,
we are here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so this is the MetaSpace economy. The future hunters, well, play that little video, please. And let's listen to this 3-minute video. If you can click on the gearbox and put playback at speed 2 times the speed, please. Oh, it's not sharing the sound. So anyhow, what I wanted to tell you guys here is how you can watch videos today at double the speed. Do you know that you can watch your videos in half the time by playing back double the speed? This is one of the advents of the MetaSpace economy called the time space. How can you do more with less time? So if you press play and click on the gearbox and play 2 times the speed, you will see how we can see a video of 3 minutes in 1 minute and a half. Can you please do that, please? Click on the gearbox there next to YouTube.
Can you explain the MetaSpace economy that's being shaped by millennials now? The MetaSpace economy is a concept that the firm of future hunters came up with. And it's
gearbox next to YouTube.
Our ideas of space as related to work are changing completely. You know, there's information that's in the cloud. We might not be working from the same place. You know, even the whole world is changing in terms of what we think of as close or far, and really changing our notions not just of space but also of time.
Well, the time space is about how do you reduce the time and sell shortcuts for people. Microspace is about the nanotechnologies and gene editing that are changing everything.
And we lost Mario. And we lost Mario once again.
Okay. I'm back now. Hello? Hello, Mario?
It's a pity. It's a pity because the until so far the presentation was quite interesting, but we are starting to run out of time.
Yeah. Mario? Hello, Mario. Yeah, this connection problem.
Okay. Hopefully now Mario is able to come on stage. If not, I think what else can we do, Sosimo? Can we collect some questions from the audience? Okay, Jean-Baptiste is saying, okay, that he doesn't mind to stay longer. Okay, we can wait. Hopefully it works. Okay, someone else confirms that yes. Jean-Baptiste, by the way, do you want to raise your hand and come to the stage while we are trying to solve this issue? if you want, you can just raise your hand and I promote you to speaker. It's easy. Mm. Okay. And Mike. So let's try to hear from Jean-Baptiste as well. Jean-Baptiste Belmont from Bordeaux.
Yes, that's right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you perfectly.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, as I was saying, this was really captivating. I think seeing the economic opportunities of the future, trying to dive into what you can say insight or oversight of the future, or foresight actually. It's quite interesting. So I guess yeah, I'm kind of eager to learn more about it. This work is
Okay.
this kind of work is not something that we find easily, and to have the occasion to take a closer look at this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. But sometimes you don't know exactly where to find the information and whatnot. So
okay, let's hope that we can manage to have them on board. Unfortunately, there are some tech issues that we still need to to deal with. Jean-Baptiste, by the way, were you in other sessions today?
yes, I attended a couple sessions.
Okay.
Earlier, I went to a session regarding a virtual concert. Will virtual concert be kind of the new phenomenon in the future? And yesterday too, I attended a couple of sessions. This morning also, I attended a session. This morning at the start of the afternoon.
Oops.
Hello, guys. I'm back.
I'm sorry.
Can you see me now?
I'm sorry, I just did a mistake because apparently if I accept some more people on stage, the other ones get kicked out. So, but the good news is that we have Christian, which is not Christian, is Mario. So good that I accepted.
Christian was talking.
Thank you for accepting me. Let's jump forward the next slide, please. Just to finalize, I'm really sorry. I know we have 5 minutes, right, Pedro? And I have a lot of slides still. I'm not sure we're gonna cover them all. So I believe now we're in the slide the great ability of interconnectivity of these spaces. Like I would like to exemplify the online to offline, like Uber and DoorDash, that start online and deliver a physical benefit offline, right? There's another outer space developed thesolar panels that are helping us green to blue regenerate our economy. So there's a lot of intersection, and the innovation is able to be happening in the intersection of these spaces. So let's go to the next slide, please. These are the 6 Ds of exponential. Since nobody knows, please play the video.
Oh, really?
It's a 2-minute video.
Because when I detach here, I have problem with audio.
Okay. So basically, what they say is that to turn something exponential, you start digitizing it, then it becomes in a deceptive phase, and then it all of a sudden becomes disruptive, dematerializes in a market, demonetizes and democratizes it. Has happened to photographs, digital photographs, has happened to events like this that everybody's doing for free now. And I'll have to disconnect here.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Now I'm back to my computer. So next slide, please. Let's talk about 2018, this global summit we were together. We had 3 billion people online. We had avatars talking to us in natural language, almost passing the Turing test. We had a house printed in 24 hours for $4,000. And we had the prediction of connecting the brain to the cloud in 2035, 10 years before expected. Now let's go forward to today. Next slide, please. We have 5 billion people in the internet, out of which half are in Asia. We have mobile payments in everybody's WhatsApp in India, in Brazil, and now going to Africa. So financial inclusion. The difference between us, the developed world, and the developing nations was financial services, access to payments and credit. Now they have it on the palm of their hand. Next slide, please. So half of the internet population is Asian. But what we don't know, Africa has more connected people than all of America to put together. Next. We're talking about the Sustainable Development Goals 2, ending hunger, and 6, water. We have the new proteins that need much less water. We have greenhouse. China is basically going to feed its people like Holland with greenhouse. And you have agroponics. If you press next, please. 35% of China's foods, vegetables, are grown in plastic greenhouse. Low tech, very effective. Next slide. We have about health and prosperity. Today, we're going to have this September the largest run of 10K in the world. There will be 500 million people running 10K. 500 million people running 10K. Can you imagine that? And about education and prosperity. You know that 1 billion teaching 1 billion people the X Prize, if you play that video, shows that we already can teach 1 billion people without the teacher present, just with a tablet. And we have also the gig economy, which was 1% of US population in 2015, 1% of US workforce, and now it's 36% of the workforce in US. And out of this 36%, more or less 20%, 18% of them depend on that for survival. 75% of the executives are looking for hard skills to be found online with freelance apps. So the gigs are us, they are coming. Next slide, please. Next slide. Well, about water and sanitation, we have technology that concentrates 500 liters of water with 1 kilo of polymer. That way, reducing 95% of evaporation. Great for irrigation projects in the desert. And we have hyper solar concentration, creating glass and cement and steel. 3D printed whole houses and whole neighborhoods, whole cities, democratizing the new cities. Next slide, please. Next. Space, as you know, is also this week, Elon Musk landed his first space shuttle. What people don't know is that Elon Musk is with SpaceX is already delivering internet for people all over the world by satellite at $10 a month. So the next 3 billion are coming online in the next 3 years. There's the renewable energy. That's the cost of renewables have collapsed 10 times the last 10 years. And press one more, please. Just this information is very important. This year, the price of a battery pack is below $100. That means it's grid parity. That means a solar panel can produce and store during the day what you're going to use during the night. That changes the whole game for off-grid. Next slide, please. Next slide. Elect where you live. Everybody knows about Airbnb. What nobody knows about is Zillow and EXP. Basically, the whole place where you're going to live, you're going to hire by the minute. And for instance, I had a friend in London that wanted to buy £1 million apartment in London. I said, did you know with £1 million you can buy a 65-acre farmhouse in Scotland with a loch, with a lake? So he decided to buy 65 acres instead of 1,000 square foot, 100 square meter apartment in London. And also the digital IP is going to generate the same difference as patents. Now you can do an NFT that just this last quarter, the last 3 months, raised $2 billion. This is the bonanza for creatives. We're not going to have IP anymore. We're going to have NFTs. Holograms are coming, and we're talking about deep fakes. So how are you going to know this is Mario speaking and not an avatar? Well, you're going to have an NFT that proves this is Mario, and you're going to pay for that. If you want to talk to an avatar of Mario, it's free. If you want to talk to real Mario, it's paid. Next slide, please. Crowdfunding and crowdsourcing solve the biggest hurdles of everybody. Everybody says, I don't have the talent, I don't have the money to make my things go. Well, Mars VR is going to make a replica of Mars, and they just raised $100,000 online in 6 weeks. Next, please, just once. You know that crowdfunding raised an average of $10,000 to $40,000 for 6.5 million projects last year, raising $65 billion. 22% of the projects were funded. Have you started your crowdfund yet? Next slide. Well, I closed my presentation today with asking how much of your time and money is leveraging the 10 MetaSpace economies using the 6 Ds to solve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. And I believe, like Tony Robbins, that life supports what supports more life, and intention matters. So go out there and build a sustainable world worth living. Thank you. Now we could go to questions and answers. I think I'm 5 minutes off my scheduled time, but since we started late, if you want to have another 5 minutes of questions and answers, I'm free here to reply to any of your answers you want.
Great. I think we can do it as you suggested. So Zimo.
Right.
I see some claps. So if you have some questions, just write down here on the chat, or as we did before, you can raise the hand and I can promote to come on stage. Questions, anyone?
I have a question for the people here. Who participated on a crowdfunding last year? Who did deposit any money on a crowdfunding? Who did any crowdfunding last year? Yeah?
Few people or none.
Nobody participated on crowdfunding. So I'm going to give you an opportunity right now, if you don't mind. I had planned this, but well, it's my birthday, guys. And I believe sincerely life supports what supports more life, and intentions matter. So this birthday, I'm doing a crowdfunding to solve the SDG number 2, which we talked about, children hungry. And we don't want them to go stunted. So this is my link in the chat. Is my crowdfunding campaign, if you want to pitch in, to feeding these children that are today hungry because of the pandemic and because of the problems of war. And so if you would like to, oh, Peter, glad that you backed Mars VR. Would you join me also with this Sustainable Development Goal 2, Feeding the Hungry Child? Here's the link. And I do wish that we would have more campaigns to help achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. It's up to us, guys. It's not the government or the UN, it's us. And the crowdfunding, crowdsourcing is now available to the ordinary citizens. We can do what only governments could do before.
And by the way, Mario, I'm sharing on the general event feed chat because you posted on the session, but I'm doing it on the event chat.
Oh, thank you so much.
Crowdfunding campaign. Okay. So that more people can see it.
Yes,
Nice.
I think if everybody pitches in, we could solve hunger today. The problem of hunger is not a $1 trillion project. Planting 1 trillion trees is much more expensive than solving hunger. And what else was your favorite sustainable development goal? Peter, do you have anything that you're focused in space?
No, myself. Peter.
Peter Sasman.
Yes, Peter. Do you want to raise your hand and I promote you to come on stage? Okay, I have here raised and from Christian. Well, I'm going. Christian is you.
Yeah,
Mario.
Christian is me.
Okay.
It's our contingency planning.
Okay, then Peter, if you want to raise your hand, I can accept you on stage. And I think I know Peter, by the way, if I'm not
He
wrong.
contributed to Mars VR this year. I was very happy to see that. So you see, we're going to have a Mars twin thanks to Peter's backing as well. You're going to go to Mars much quicker.
Someone here, Roberto, is asking, in your opinion, yes.
What's the most important for me is jobs, because we have 2 billion people that are going to lose their job in the next 9 years. And if we don't re-engage these people quickly, they're losing their purpose, their meaning. And, you know, the difference between 1 week of unemployed and 1 decade unemployed is the difference between somebody thinking or actually doing something tragic. Suicide is already killing more people than homicide in the world today. That correlates to the expansion of these smartphones. So there is something going on right now. And if we don't engage people in valuable, meaningful work, I think we risk on having a big disruption and everything else. Yeah, I don't know how to do that on the phone browser, says Peter. Well, Christian did on the phone browser, raised his hand on the app, but not on the browser. He used the app.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Peter, you must have the app to be able to raise your hand, not the browser. Well, another thing I wanted to reinforce is the power of knowledge. A lot of this information here is available in the internet, but if it's not concatenated to action, people don't do things. So I hope this conversation today was inspiring to take action individually. It's up to us. Really, Pedro has done a wonderful job pulling this together, because it's sharing knowledge from peer to peer that we're going to find the solutions to what are our problems. Sometimes Pedro has the solution for what I find a problem. Zosimo has a problem that I have a solution. And this is how the world goes. It's like a merry-go-round. You know, this event is very important for that, Pedro, for sharing knowledge and
Thank
for
you.
sharing best practice. I thank you for organizing it.
Thank you, Mario. Very kind words. Well, we hope that, over the course of, I think we run this for almost 20 hours. I'm a bit tired because these are the last, this should be the last hour for me. But it was really great. I think we met people from different parts of the world, people with different problems, as you mentioned, solutions. I think we saw some synergies between the peers, as you just said, and that's what motivates us to keep doing this. We cannot touch 1 billion of people at the same time, or at least from here. But I hope that we can run more events like this, and eventually we will touch 1 billion people soon.
I think so.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, so from the Singularity University chapter was really good to see the engagement as well from Curitiba and from the other chapters. So parallel to this, we had as well Ribeirão Preto and Buenos Aires. So this is not one-man show or one-man work. I think we together as a community really work as a team, and that's how we can find solutions for the world's biggest problems and the SDGs. So I think really thank you, Mario, for all the insights. The more we share about it, the more people that will work towards it. So really grateful that you joined us.
Yeah, and I would like to thank Zosimo from the chapter
Yes.
of Curitiba, the most sustainable chapter in the country. And thanks to his leadership going worldwide. Thank you, Zosimo. This was an excellent
You're welcome.
opportunity.
Very welcome.
Okay, and if you want to leave your contact details, just I think on the website we made your profile available with the LinkedIn, but share it on the event website so that people can connect to you. And I think our doors as community builders are open. So anytime you are in Frankfurt, I'm happy to meet.
I think Peter raised his hand, and now we can have Peter speak a little bit.
Yes.
Peter, welcome. Oh, that's a young Peter. It's a Peter Pan.
Yep.
Where are you speaking from, Peter? Arlington.
Texas.
Oh, so you're close there to SpaceX.
Yeah, they're at the southern tip of Texas. Yeah.
Did you see the launch this week?
Yeah, that was great that they successfully landed.
Finally, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, they successfully landed before, but it blew up like a while later. This time it actually survived.
That was good. And I'm so glad that you went into the crowdfunding of Mars VR. What made you go to Mars VR and give your money to them?
So I'm actually familiar with one of the developers, Mixed Reality. So they teamed up with the Mars Society on that campaign. And actually, Mixed Reality had integrated my scent device, the Cilia, with their rock climbing game, Adventure Climb VR. And it's also going to be supported with the Mars VR. So
this was amazing. I couldn't expect somebody from this group here having been a member, but this thing about crowdfunding is so interesting. First of all, it wasn't very much they needed. They were raising 100,000, and that's very little to think about what their scope of work is. And then how quickly they got it, like 6 weeks.
Yeah. And I think, they say like around August time is when, they'll start having it released. So,
I mean, 100,000, you wouldn't shoot a movie. And now you're going to have an app that millions or billions of people can visit Mars on their palm of their hand. This is how the world's changing. There are people still thinking that shooting a movie is like the most expensive thing. And you can do things much more engagingly, like interactive with digital twins, for much less than the price of. They said that the movie The Martian costs more than what the Indians sent their probe to the moon. So the movie was more expensive than actually doing it.
wow.
And I see you're in an office or you're in a workshop. Do you actually?
Yeah.
Are you? Do you work there in?
Like, I don't know if you can see, but like I have some 3D printers and that. I make a smell device for VR, and so it's just kind of my little workshop where I put them together.
Guys, take a picture at this because we're seeing the birth of the next giga-dollar company on this garage of Peter Sasman.
And
Peter,
here's the laser cutter. There's some like little CNC machines back there and stuff. Yep.
That's so cool, Peter. How old are you, if you mind me asking?
Gonna be 30 in September.
Wow, it's unbelievable. You're like ready to go, man. This is the decade of the billionaires. You're gonna be the Zuckerberg of this generation.
Peter,
And being so close to
God bless you.
SpaceX, I would go all into space because space is the one that you kill two birds with one stone. You solve intergalactic exploration as well as making Earth more sustainable because all the technology needed to survive in space will be used on Earth, making us more sustainable. So, like solar panels were used for space originally. And look what they're doing now. They're going to save us from our own. So, man, SpaceX, I'd go all in there. If I were you, I'd just move to Boca Chica and be there like.
Yeah.
Peter,
there's so many inventions that come out of space exploration that like we don't even realize.
Yeah. 3D photo holograms are also needed for space because when you need to analyze a project, like how you're going to do this engine, they do a lot of analysis on 3D maps. And you already know this. This is 20 years old in CADs. But now if you have a hologram of an engine, of a Raptor, can you imagine how troubleshooting before you actually develop the engine?
Yeah, and you can use technology like VR and AR to actually like go in, like look at your models more closely with depth perception to see, if there's going to be problems in that before you actually go into production. Like, it's amazing.
Peter, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, because I have here a question and someone was asking exactly the same. Can you replicate the smell of Mars, or how are you replicating the smell of Mars?
There's a few different things. So, like obviously the ground, like there's some rust and some like burnt steak smell. Some of that's going to be smelled more when you come into the hab. While you're actually in the spacesuit, I actually have a friend who works on like pressure suits and that. So like while you're out EVA, you're probably going to smell more like, more like, I think he said like sweat smell. Like I don't know if we put sweat smell or not. We'll see because that might gross some people out. But like there's like the smell of basically the inside of the suit. But when you come in, there's like the rust and the steak smell. And then if you had like some of the gas, then there's like kind of like rotten egg and like urine type smell from like the atmosphere. So some of these aren't like really pleasant smells. But of course, like once you're actually in the hab, then you got your place where you grow like, so you have like flowers and potatoes, coffee, different things like that. So there'll definitely be plenty of pleasant smells too.
Okay.
Not just the gross smells. And like you only put in like the smells that you want in the device. So if you don't want anything unpleasant, you can just leave those out. Kind of customize your experience.
Nice. That's really
Very
nice.
interesting. When
Okay.
you're haptic solutions, what are your main clients today?
It's really a mixture. So like there's a few, game developers. There's some people who use it for like tabletop board gaming. A lot of 4D enthusiasts like watching movies with, smell. Let me see here. Some potential would be like escape rooms. We think that would be a good client. Yeah. Let's
What
see if I
about
can think.
the training of
Oh, yeah, training, definitely. Yeah.
exercise and people that do like endurance performance?
Training in the exercising sense, yeah, maybe certain smells could help, get you in the right zone for that. I definitely know, like, in terms of training, like what smells you don't want to smell. And like part of that, like, I don't know, maybe in Mars VR there could be something like that. But like, yeah, like some of the people we've talked with, would you use it for training for like what you would or wouldn't want to smell while on the job type of thing.
Well, I think we're going to have to close because everybody has to go to their happy hours. Thank God it's Friday, but I thank everybody for participating. And well, let's reconnect on the social networks. You have my contacts, and I'd love to keep the conversation going.
I'll just say I'm on Twitter if anybody wants to find me. I'm just Peter Sassaman on there, and we also work on like gloves and things too. So, yeah.
But you can as well join a table. So I hate to cut the session because I need to join another one. But you can join any of the tables in the on the platform. So I'm sorry for that. But yeah, Peter, it was really nice to see you as well. I think we need to catch up. I tried to plug you in the event, but maybe it was too late. But really good stuff. It was really nice to hear what you were just describing.
Thank you for letting me chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Obrigado.
Okay. I'm going to bring just Sosimo to focus if I manage. No, now we are the three of us. And just say a final thank you, everyone. And I hope that obrigado.
Obrigado, Pedro.
And we keep in touch, everyone.
Sure.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too, huh?
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.